Lowe's knows how to help make your home holiday ready for less. Get Select Style Selections vinyl flooring for just $1.99 per square foot and have it installed before the festivities begin. Our team can help you every step of the way. See a Lowe's Red Vest associate or visit Lowe's.com/holiday install to get started. Lowe's, we help, you save. Basic install only. Date restrictions apply. Subject to availability. Installed by independent contractors. See associate for details. Contiguous U.S. only. Lowe's knows how to get you ready for holiday hosting with up to 35% off select home decor. And get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, members get free delivery, haul away, basic installation, parts, and a 2-year Lowe's protection plan when you spend $2,500 or more on select LG major appliances. Valid through 10/1. Member offer excludes Massachusetts, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Jersey, and Florida. Installed by independent contractors. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Trying to lose weight? It's time to try Hers. At forhers.com/4u, you can access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss treatments tailored just for you. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, and we're live on YouTube. And if you've been listening to KFI, you know that there was a recent update and press conference. No questions were taken regarding the status of the manhunt for the killer of Charlie Kirk. Now, there were some new pictures which were released to the public. There was some new surveillance video released of what was being termed as the suspect. Some reports I've seen person of interest, some reports I'm seeing as suspect. So I may bounce back and forth because I've heard both. Now, they have not said anything too specific about who they may think it is. They may have a person by name in mind, but they are still asking the general public, you and me, if we should see something or know something to forward it on to the FBI. I don't know if they are closer than they were yesterday. They are now releasing more information to give us a sense of where they are in the investigation. We know that a rifle, a high-powered bolt-action rifle, was found in a wooded area or in an undeveloped area, if I'm not mistaken. We don't know exactly the ballistics. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. Do we have any ballistics information about the bullet?
That I don't know, but they did find the gun in that wooded area that they said the suspect ran into when he jumped down from the roof.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've looked at a number of pictures and video, and I'm all over the place, me personally, as far as what the person looks like. Very, very slight in build. I've heard some commentators say, well, it could be a woman. I don't know. I can't get a good look and gauge on the individual, whether the person's male or female. I will say that this person is in some sort of disguise to make that person less recognizable. So anything is possible at this point. It seems like a younger person in their early 20s is best we can discern. But there is something which did bother me, and it has nothing to do with the press conference. It has to do with certain leaks that I've seen on TMZ and other places where you have this video. I don't know if it's coming from a law enforcement source. I get the sense it is, and that's kind of curious. if someone on the inside of the investigation is giving away video to TMZ for their own personal gain, but I just don't see how TMZ is getting the exclusives on some of these videos. It's really strange, but we live in a time where this video can be very, very profitable. But we're seeing leaks as far as video and photos coming from the investigation. And I don't know if that's going to compromise it in some way more than it's going to help.
We're also seeing what we've never seen before, to my knowledge, which is the FBI director tweeting in the middle and the early stages of a live investigation. That is highly unusual.
It is, and I actually talked to some of my retired FBI friends, and they were telling me that customarily the director of the FBI does not say anything until the end. And also the FBI director does not travel to the site of an investigation.
Correct.
Until the end. That's what they're telling me. So it's not for me to say what is improper or proper. I'm just relaying what was relayed to me. So all of this is strange. All of this is unusual. I hope they catch the person. I don't know how close or how far away they are from catching the person. They are still asking the general public for their help to submit any information that they do have. So that just tells me they're not necessarily as close as they would hope to be at this juncture. I don't know how long this manhunt is going to last. I don't know where it's going to lead. And if you know me, that always concerns me, because in this time in between, people like to speculate. People want to blame. People want to assume. People want some sort of revenge, and it makes the situation worse. And I'm not blaming the FBI. I'm saying this time in between the murder and the capture, people get antsy. People want information. People want answers. And I understand that, but human nature oftentimes gets in the way and makes bad matters worse, because we want to bring this to some sort of conclusion. And some people with different motivations want to be able to blame someone. I'll give you a perfect example. There was a report by the Wall Street Journal, which was not confirmed by other sources, that somehow that there was some transgender ideology connected to the gun that was found earlier today. And then the Wall Street Journal had to go back and change their headline in their reporting because they could no longer confirm it, and that there was other sources and possibly misinterpreted information in their own report.
Yeah, I think it was very significant that Utah's governor, his name is Spencer Cox, specifically, he went out of his way to warn people to watch for disinformation on social media about this case.
I heard that near the end, and I was really appreciative of that fact, because social media will play an outsized role in this investigation. It will play an outsized role as far as how we will accept or not accept the truth when it does come out, when someone is finally apprehended, whether we'll believe that's the person or whether we'll just spiral into other conspiracy theories. So it was a concerning day, because I could see the direction where social media was going, news reporting, and it was getting very, very loose in certain news reporting. I didn't get the sense that they were having double sources with some of the stuff that they were leading with. And I was concerned that the FBI was allowing information to come out which could compromise its own investigation. And I could be absolutely wrong, but I usually err on the side of caution. And there was stuff that was leaking out that I'm thinking should have never gotten out prior to the FBI and local law enforcement giving it to us at a press conference. There's no need to be first in this. There's absolutely no need to rush this information out, especially when they're looking for someone.
That's absolutely right. It's better to hang back and be correct than stick your neck out right away and then be wrong and have egg on your face. And there are repercussions to being wrong in a situation like this.
Huge repercussions. But we will continue to follow this. I don't expect there to be any other update later on tonight. But if there should be any information which should come down, if an arrest is made or another person is taken into custody for questioning, I'm quite sure the KFI 24-hour newsroom will be on it, and we'll have that information for you. So just keep it right here. It's Later with Mo Kelly. When we come back, you might have heard Mark Ronner talk about just a few minutes ago about how another child has died from measles, but it's right here locally. We got to talk about
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
Next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app. And I get absolutely no joy in talking about something that I was trying to warn people about. It's not about being right. It is about protecting children, though. And another child has died from measles, but this has to do, or I should say measles complication, but this has to do with LA County, not in Texas, not somewhere else. This is right in our backyard. The child, identified only as school age, which is very vague, but was originally infected with measles as an infant before they were eligible to receive the measles vaccine, which is routinely recommended to be administered between 12 and 15 months. And let me stop right there. Do you remember when either you were a child or you had a younger sibling, or maybe you are a parent and you remember you had a newborn infant and you, for the most part, shielded your child from encountering a lot of people, if only because you wanted to make sure that the child with almost no immune system at that point wasn't unnecessarily exposed to different diseases. It's almost like one of those things where when you have a newborn, all the adults know, for the most part, to stay away. Well, this is one of those reasons why you want to keep adults away from very, very young infants. One, they don't have the immune system built up, and in many cases, they haven't had their vaccine schedule. But you have a child here who developed measles and recovered from the initial infection of measles. But then the child developed and ultimately died from measles complications. And I don't even know if I can even pronounce it, but it was subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, SSPE. It's thought to be rare but universally fatal complication that can occur in individuals who have measles early in life. And this goes back to our larger vaccination discussion. If you're not going to get vaccinated and you should have children, or your children are not vaccinated, they're at a larger likelihood of exposure to measles, catching measles. And measles is one of the most transmissible diseases in the world. There's a high likelihood that you will get measles if exposed to measles, especially if you're not vaccinated. And if you're very young, there's a good chance that you will have complications from it. We talked about the stats. We talked about the figures, the likelihood of being hospitalized. And although rare, I'm not talking about the mortality rate. I'm not saying that it's high, but I'm saying that this was a child who died. And I would have to assume that since the child had measles, was obviously exposed to someone, had measles, most likely who was not vaccinated, because measles, say it with me, had been eradicated. So there's no reason to believe that this child should have been exposed to measles in the first place. Now, think of it this way. What if I told you that this same child, I wish I could see you right now because I know your eyebrows are getting ready to go up. What if I told you this same child was killed by an undocumented immigrant? I'm quite sure your response would be altogether different, completely different. The whole concept of right and wrong, it's like, we would need to do something about this. Or if I told you this child was killed on a train in North Carolina, like that Ukrainian woman, I'm quite sure your thought about it would be considerably different. And I'm saying this is something we can control. Now, we can't necessarily prevent all crime, We can't even prevent all disease, but we damn sure can prevent the measles. We have, it's almost like the $6 million man. We have the technology. We can do it. We have done it. This child did not need to die from measles. And we talked about this, I don't know, Mark, was it about maybe 3 or 4 months ago? We were talking about the Texas outbreak and the 2 children that had died there. I'm saying, we said there would be more, and lo and behold, there is more, and it's right in our backyard.
You're not really sticking your neck out to predict there's going to be more when people are vaccinating less and less and consuming more and more anti-vax information, frankly, including from our own health secretary, who's a notorious anti-vaxxer.
I never knew he was.
Yeah. Pop your head up. You might learn a thing or two.
I'm being completely facetious. Like, these are the things we want to say, like, hey, we want to make America healthy again. Well, right. Here you go. This is a perfect example of how you can make America healthy again. Getting the basic vaccines so you don't have children dying unnecessarily. And if we don't rally to protect children, then what's the freaking point?
I see some people on Twitter, which you are smart to avoid these days, talking about how they're not getting their children vaccinated. And I always have to stop myself. Like the guy holding his hand back in the Fly movie. Do not tweet at this person. They're your responsibility, not your property.
There are going to be more children who are going to die from measles. Why? Because we're on a trajectory of, to Mark's point, fewer people getting vaccinated, more people getting exposed to measles, more people dying from measles. That's how it works. It's preventable unless we're just too stupid to prevent it. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And when we come back, we got to talk about Uber and Lyft. They're almost, maybe, getting close to unionizing after this crucial vote. We'll tell you about it next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app. And we often talk about Uber, Lyft, rideshare, robo-taxis, and the future of the industry. And this is a real important moment. I hope everyone is paying attention, because if you're not a rideshare driver, you're probably a passenger. We're at the point where everyone, no, not you, Tony. You don't do rideshare at all? You don't even ride in them? Wow. I didn't know they still made you.
No. It's too expensive. I'm like, nah, I'll walk.
No, I get that. I was a late adopter. I did not feel real comfortable about getting in someone's personal vehicle with these contractors, which we're getting ready to talk about. They're not actual employees, and the vetting process was pretty thin in the beginning. It's gotten better. So I understand where you're coming from. I'm just surprised that you still haven't crossed over yet to the dark side.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, look, I'm that way with these robo taxis, like Waymo. I'm not getting.
I don't want to do that either.
Okay, so we're halfway the same. But my point is, rideshare is a huge part of our economy now. It's a part of the gig economy. It's a part of the money which flows back into the economy writ large, and it's very important in business in many ways. If I travel, if I'm going to another city, I'm using Uber. Even when I was international, when we were in Italy, we use Uber oftentimes to get around the city or get to our hotel. So it is firmly entrenched in society. The question is, internally, Uber and Lyft, what is going to happen to its employees? There's been a long push to designate those independent contractors as employees. That failed here in California, but drivers still wanted to at least unionize. And there is one step closer. There's a bill specifically here in California, the Assembly Bill 1340, which has already been sent to Governor Gavin Newsom. And it's merely a formality in many ways, but it's tied to an insurance bill surrounding how much insurance rideshare providers need to have for these independent contractors. It's most likely going to pass and be pushed through. What happens is you will have all these independent contractors who will be able to come together and unionize and either fight for wages or other protections or other benefits as rideshare drivers. But this is something that I don't think people have been talking about. We have here on Later with Mo Kelly, and it's Tech Thursday. And since we have been talking about robo-taxis and Waymo and automated vehicles, don't you know that the rideshare industry as we know it is only a couple years away from being fully automated? I mean, I'm talking about 2 or 3 years. We know that Elon Musk is doing his thing with his robo-taxis. We know Uber has a deal with Waymo in certain cities. I understand the need for workers to unionize. I just wonder whether these jobs, air quotes, whether these gigs of this gig economy will even be around in 2 to 3 years. Now, this is something, all jokes aside. Now, I may joke with Twala and say, yes, I'm not going to get into Waymo, and we have fun with that. But I also say certain technological advances are here or are on the way here, and there's not much we can do about it. Now, Mark will argue with me talking about AI, saying, no, nobody wants it. I'm not going to accept it. I'm going to fight it to my very last breath. I get that. But when it comes to robotaxis and automation, that is coming. That is going to destroy a lot of jobs. And we're going to see it in transportation. We're going to see it in the service economy. You're going to go to all sorts of fast food restaurants. And you're going to realize there are fewer and fewer people working there.
Yeah, but you got to take into account, Mo, the law of throwing everything against the wall and seeing what sticks. A lot of people aren't going to patronize it.
Not if you don't have an option. Let me put it this way. There was a time in which there were elevator operators. There were time in which we had traffic light operators. We had long distance operators. And then those jobs went away because technology moved forward. And I know a lot of people lost jobs, and there was this uncomfortable period in which our economy had to find some other way to employ these people. I think we're going to go through that time once again with a lot of these service jobs. Please don't judge me, I went and got some food from Popeyes today. Please don't judge me.
Of course
okay,
you did.
I had a taste for it.
Yeah.
And it was buyer's remorse because I tasted it's like, ugh, it tasted really bad.
Did you experience this remorse while seated?
No, only while I was eating and seated, but not that seated.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
I'm just saying, like, I had a taste for the biscuits, and the biscuits were rock hard. They were smaller. The red beans and rice was smaller. That shrinkflation. The whole meal was just unappetizing. My point is, when I walked into the place, there were only 2 people working. They had the automated marquee. We had to go up and just input your order, and then you just go to the register and they hand you your food. The whole need to have a fully stocked fast food restaurant is just about gone.
Sure. Let me invite you to travel back in time with me to, a couple months or so ago. Remember that thing called Doge, where they absolutely purged as many government employees as they possibly could, and then they realized, we need some of those. We got to hire a lot of them back.
But you're talking about something that was done over the course of 3 months, and I'm talking about the incremental change of our economy over, let's say, 3-4 years.
Well, there's a couple things going on at once. I think that corporations are going to try and get rid of as many humans as possible so they don't have to pay them a living wage, health care, blah, 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 blah. And we're going to find out as it shakes out what they really need and what they can really do without, and what people will patronize. And we're all finding that out right now. Nothing's set yet.
Yeah, in as much that we have choice. But if, let's say, all of the fast food industry moves down this path where they have just these automated, self-checkout kiosks, those jobs are just not coming back. I mean, gone into Popeyes, seen it. Gone into California Fish Grill, same thing. Gone into McDonald's, Same thing. They have these automated kiosks, and I'm saying that's at least 1 or 2 jobs.
I think we can all have some effect on that depending on what we decide to do. I mean, I don't really want to go into a place where I'm not interacting with anybody ever. Did you see that documentary that came out a couple of years ago called The Automat, about these places where people would go for lunch? It was kind of like a cafeteria, and you just opened a little door and picked your food out of it.
I did not see it.
You should look it up. It's worth watching, and there's some charm to that. But this thing of going into a place and never interacting with humans, they're taking our lives away from us. I don't want that.
Have you been to a car wash lately?
Have you seen my car?
Oh, but my point is, if you go to a car wash, 9 out of 10 of them are fully automated at this point. You know, there's the gas station car wash, the little one, and the big car washes, which you usually have 10 or 12 workers who are actually, physically drying your car. Those are all but gone now.
Well, there's another reason for that, too, that we don't really need to get into.
I'm talking about the technological aspect, not the ICE immigration aspect. Yeah. But I hear you. I hear you. I'm saying the jobs are gone, not the people themselves.
I think that some will stay gone as things move forward. I mean, we don't have whale oil anymore either. But some's going to come back. People are going to dictate what they want. Not everything is put down on us by our corporate overlords, and we're required to accept it in perpetuity.
But there's a degree of collusion.
What do you mean?
Especially within the industry. In other words, what one in fast food will do, most of them will do. What one in groceries and retail will do, then most will do. And you will find some similarities. And taking it back to the story, talking about Uber and Lyft, and Uber already has a deal with Waymo. I suspect that Waymo is not going to be content with just some of Uber's business. They'll want all of Uber's business and all of Lyft's business. And going back to having these employees, quote unquote, unionizing, it would be in the financial interest of Uber to go straight Waymo, straight automated robotaxi, as opposed to sharing any money with human drivers.
Well, of course, if you vaporize them all, that's all the more profits you get to keep.
Hello? But you always talk about, corporate greed.
Yeah.
This is like tailor-made for corporate greed.
Oh, there's no question about it. But I'm not a Luddite, but I can't be the only person who's like, I'm not getting into that. I want a human driver.
Tony, for you, is it about a human driver, since you said that you don't do rideshare at all?
I just don't like ride sharing. I just don't like it at all.
See, I prefer a human driver, but I also know there will come a time there will not be a human driver.
I've had some real bad. The few times I've done Uber with friends, it was not a good experience with those drivers. Woo.
Look, I've had drunk taxi cab drivers. I've had bad Uber drivers. It's almost like pick your poison. And I don't know what the best answer is, but I'm more forecasting what corporate America will do.
Look, I don't like everybody. In fact, I'm a little like you, and I hate to admit this. I don't like most people, but I also don't want to be shielded from most people. I don't like their cologne. I don't like their music. I don't like the talk stations they have on when I'm in the taxi or the rideshare. I don't really want to have a huge conversation with them. I just want them to take me where I'm going. But I also don't need to be insulated from the rest of humanity for the efficiency and profit of some corporations. These are people you want to run into because that's life.
You make a great distinction. For me, I can be, for the most part, either gregarious or antisocial, but I want to be able to decide. In other words, if I'm getting in a cab, I may not want conversation. And I get that. But the larger society doesn't care about me. The larger society is going to move in a way which is much more efficient and much less expensive for the corporate overlords that you're talking about.
Regulate it. Rage against it. That's my advice.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. Don't listen to Mark. He doesn't know what he's talking about. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly. It's Later with Mo Kelly, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app on this Tech Thursday. And let me just say this. I know that it's hard for a lot of us out there. The rent's too damn high. Eggs are too high. Or you might be struggling trying to get a job. Or you might not be making enough money in the job that you have. I completely get that. But the economy is not anecdotal. And what I mean by that is I can go to my house and talk to my neighbors and say, hey, John, do you have a job? And he says, no, I don't have a job. And I go 2 houses down and I talk to Lisa. Lisa, what's your employment status? And Lisa says, no, I don't have a job either, Mo. And I can go 3 houses down and talk to Ronnie. And Ronnie says, no, I don't have a job either. And I can say, wow, the economy must be bad because 3 people on my block don't have a job. That's anecdotal. That's not the economy. But sometimes we think just because of our personal experiences, the economy's good or bad. But there are some indicators, some economic indicators to give us a better sense, big picture, where our economy is going. In other words, things that we all have to deal with, that we all can measure. And U.S. inflation worsened last month. The cost of gas, the cost of food, and the cost of airfare all have jumped. Consumer prices increased 2.9% in August from a year earlier, and that's up from 2.7% the previous month, and it's the biggest increase since January. And food is up 3.1%, the same time since July. And here's something else we have to consider. We don't know what the Fed is going to do. If the Fed is going to reduce interest rates or they're going to hold them, all those things make it more of an economic squeeze on you and me. And we had this robust debate. I seem to remember that the economy was supposedly horrible, at least in our public discussion, back around October, November of 2024. I think it was right around then, that the economy was horrible. Now we look like a year later or so, messed around and found out what a bad economy actually feels like. You know, the cost of eggs, they're a whole lot more now than they were a year ago. I think that's fair to say. Cost of gas, a lot more than, let's say, a year ago. Stock market, it's about where it was a year ago. But I think, big picture, I think we should all be able to agree that economically it's more difficult today than maybe 3-4 months ago. Isn't that fair? I think that's fair. All the economic information, all the statistics out there suggest that things are not as good today as they were maybe 5-6 months ago. And that's not a political statement. That's just an economic indicator statement. I'm not trying to get anyone elected. There's no election on the horizon. But I do talk about the economy because the economy impacts every single one of us. It even impacts Daniel, who's in here messing with the cameras. It impacts Tony, who refuses to get in a ride share. It impacts Mark Ronner, who's a miser and who doesn't spend any money ever under any circumstances.
I have noticed everything is more expensive at the grocery store. The prostitute Ralph's I go to after work late at night.
Even the prostitute is more expensive.
I bet they've raised their prices too.
That's the way it is, okay? Prostitutes got to eat too.
So I hear. Not firsthand.
You have never. Okay, I want to ask you the question, Mark Ron, before we go to break.
Here we gotta
No.
No, Tony, cut him off, Tony.
You
cut him
invoked the prostitutes. I'm going to ask you: have you ever in your life?
No.
I got to ask the question first. Have you ever in your life paid for companionship?
Look at me. Do you think I need to?
No. Don't do Donald Trump on me. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, the answer is no.
You sure?
I think I'd know.
No, I think you'd know, but I think you'd lie about it too.
No, it saves time not to lie. No, I've never.
Okay. Tony?
Oh, he has for sure.
Paid?
Wait, are we going?
When I think of 9/11, I think of tragedy, sadness.
Are we going to break now?
KFI remembers.
And ultimately unifying our country for supporting a city that unfortunately tragically fell.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.